The dark secrets of reality TV. Oh.
Exactly real. Most people understand that reality shows aren't exactly real, but to dismiss the shows and just say, oh, it's all scripted, it's all fake, that's not exactly true either. You see, these shows operate more like human science experiments than scripted entertainment. Producers aren't necessarily
I like the shows.
telling contestants what to do, what to say, and how to act, but going through a series of calculated behind-the-scenes steps to control the environment and nearly guarantee chaos on camera. Unfortunately, because these tactics are designed to push people past their breaking point, there have been countless cases where contestants' lives were tragically cut short, with many pointing to the mental and emotional toll these shows have had on them. Today we are going to uncover the step-by-step process reality shows use to psychologically manipulate their contestants into getting the entertainment that they want, and all the ways it has gone horribly wrong. It all starts with the people they cast in the first place, whose personality profiles will naturally clash, ensuring fights and maximizing drama. Even though reality shows can have vastly different premises, most of them follow a similar structure. Bring a group of strangers together, isolate them from the outside world, and then put them through some kind of challenge with real stakes on the line, and whether the final prize.
What if you could see what readers think of your story at the click of a button? Meet
Prize is money or love.
The cash prize is $50K.
The production process for maximizing the entertainment value of these shows is mostly the same, and a lot of it relies on morally unethical behavior. Before the cameras turn on, reality shows have an extremely calculated casting process. The first step for getting on many reality shows is a lengthy application, and we're not talking a job application. Shows like Big Brother require IQ and psychological evaluations to ensure contestants will be able to perform under pressure. Survivor is similar, where production goes through 25,000 initial applicants, complete with background and psychological screenings before they're even considered for a callback. One of the reasons why this process takes so long is because producers aren't just looking for good contestants, they're looking for specific characters. Every person on the show has to fit a very specific role. You might have the hero, the villain, the underdog, the heartbreaker, the loudmouth, the wild card. It's like casting for a movie, except the script hasn't been written yet.
Oh shit, what the fuck is this?
And usually the most successful shows are when everyone plays their role perfectly. Like in Jersey Shore, Ronnie was the hothead who wanted to start fights. Jenny was the female hothead who wanted to start fights. Snooki was the lovable mess. Mike the Situation was the arrogant loudmouth. Vinny was the laid-back, lovable nice guy. Pauly D was the uplifting wingman. You knew exactly what you were going to get from each character, which made the show easier to produce, made the stories easier to write, and fans could easily understand and develop parasocial relationships with the cast. However, during the casting process, what producers are truly looking for are people that exhibit characteristics known as the dark triad. The term dark triad refers to a trio of negative personality traits: narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. Put more simply, they're looking for those who are
not all there,
entitled, lack empathy, and manipulate others. Why? Well, these are the people that create the best drama. A perfect example is Russell Hantz from Survivor. But first, a quick word from today's sponsor. Even come to an awesome access in the QR. Russell became legendary for burning other contestants' socks, sabotaging food supplies, and lying straight to people's face. He wasn't just playing the game, he was thriving on manipulation and control, and fans love to hate him for it. Some contestants wear these dark triad traits like a badge of honor. Tiffany New York Pollard is one of the most iconic reality stars in history who was unapologetic about stirring up drama on VH1's Flavor of Love.
Not you. You can show. This was the first interaction I really had with Rain, so I wanted to see her her anger level. I wanted to see if I was powerful enough to twist her mind. It was a mind thing. She got mind screwed by me, and it worked.
What?
My advice to the other ladies in the house would be beware of me.
Flavor Flav.
Because I'm not backing down.
Or take Stephen Bear from X on the Beach. He built a persona around seduction, betrayal, and exploiting his relationships for entertainment, but it turns out this was no persona. This was actually who he was in real life.
Fucking asshole.
Bear was convicted and jailed for revenge Prawn after leaking explicit footage of an ex-partner online. He was sentenced to 21 months in prison. Psychologist Pamela B. Rutledge says that the perfect reality TV star and the perfect scammer or con artist have many overlapping traits. Actors, con artists, and scammers all tend to exude energy and have excellent powers of persuasion. The best scammers can project something desirable and likable about themselves to increase perceptions of trust and appear to offer an opportunity with lots of upside while glossing over the risks. And to no surprise, there are literally countless people who were found guilty of financial crimes before or after appearing on reality TV. Jen Shah from The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City was running a telemarketing scam targeting vulnerable, often elderly individuals. Shah pleaded guilty and was later sentenced to 6.5 years in prison and ordered to pay $6.5 million in restitution. Teresa Giudice from The Real Housewives of New Jersey served 11 months in prison after committing multiple acts of financial fraud. Richard Hatch from Survivor was indicted for fraud and tax evasion. Todd and Julie Chrisley were found guilty of both evading taxes and conspiracy to defraud community banks out of more than
Mike from Jersey Shore wasn't caught in evaded taxes too.
$30 million to fund their lavish lifestyle. Julie and Todd were sentenced to 7 and 12 years in prison, but lucky for them, another reality star scammer had the power to personally pardon them. If you just Google reality star fraud, you'll get so many different examples that it actually looks like these producers are intentionally trying to cast scammers to be on their show. But show producers have been criticized for not doing enough due diligence to avoid platforming bad or immoral people. Since they go through a deep vetting process, they should know about any potential controversies. Bachelor contestants met with a private investigator who is, quote, trained to dig up any skeletons in the closet, partly to use for their storyline, but also to get ahead of any tabloid stories that could come to the surface if they were on the show. Had they ever been arrested? Had they ever sent nude photos to anyone? Had they ever made an X tape? Had they gotten a DUI? Recently, Love Island cast member Sierra Ortega was removed from season 7 after posts from years ago resurfaced showing her using a racial slur that was historically used to attack Asian people. Outrage erupted online, she was labeled a racist, and fans demanded that she be removed from the show. She announced that she left the show due to a personal situation and then issued an apology online.
Did gaming take over your life? You're not alone, and it might not be your fault. The makers of game
no ill intention when I
personal situation
was using it, but that's absolutely no excuse because intent doesn't excuse ignorance. It just doesn't.
Sierra also noted in her apology that angry fans called ICE on her family, and she posted a slew of extremely hateful messages and threats she was receiving. To give you an idea of the magnitude of Love Island and this controversy, Sierra's apology video has over 20 million views.
Damn.
Now, some people were confused why this was being treated as a new news story, considering she had publicly addressed and apologized for the use of this slur before she was ever on Love Island, and that raised some conspiracies. Some suggest that producers knew about this controversy before the masses did and actively ignored it. Because if you think about it, Love Island only benefits from Sierra's backlash, as her name is directly tied to the Netflix series. I think it's safe to assume that when it comes to a reality TV show, all publicity is good publicity, right? When Love is Blind faced similar backlash for allegedly platforming bad people, creator Chris Colin defended their vetting process. We have background checks.
Aren't the police?
And psychological evaluations. Everyone in the world has a story, and we aren't the police. These shows don't take accountability for the actions of their contestants because, well, realistically, they aren't to blame, but also because they aren't exactly looking for the most morally righteous individuals in the first place. Producers want a perfect mix of unpredictable, toxic, and genuine personalities, which when thrown in a room together for long enough are guaranteed to cause chaos and produce dramatic television. Then again, producers' psychological manipulation tactics can even have genuine people behave differently than they normally would. Sarah Hartshorn, who was cast on America's Next Top Model in 2007, described producers exuding a subtle tactic. Thousands upon thousands sent in audition tapes from all over the country, every single state. We had casting scouts all over looking for candidates, and you guys are the ones who made it. You're here, and it's not just your looks. You all know that being a top model is more more than that. It's who you are, and one of you is America's Next Top Model. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. By framing the contestants as chosen and exceptional, producers create a heightened sense of purpose and pressure. It deepens the emotional investment of the cast, making them more willing to endure extreme conditions or humiliation for the sake of not wasting their once-in-a-lifetime shot. It also shifts the power dynamic in favor of the producers. Contestants are no longer just people, they're characters in the producer's story that they feel obligated to live up to. And before ever stepping onto the set, contestants are almost always required to sign strict contracts, often including detailed non-disclosure agreements. Now, it's easy to understand why NDAs are somewhat necessary to prevent the show's ending from being spoiled by bitter contestants, as the episodes were filmed months in advance, but fans have to wait week after week to find out what happens. What they don't realize is sometimes these contracts come with threats. Sarah Hartstone recalls America's Next Top Model producers threatening to sue contestants for $5 million if they leaked any information about the show. The contestants were shook. They thought, "We don't have $5 million. The producers replied, "We know you don't. We know all about all of your financial information. None of you have $5 million. None of your families have $5 million either." But the NDAs can go even further. They can prohibit contestants from publicly discussing production conditions, mental health struggles during filming, and any manipulative tactics producers use behind the scenes. Take this viral Reddit post from a former reality show contestant, for example. "The producers made me go through hell for 4 months. I lost my house, my car, my business, my boyfriend. I was very naive, and they exploited me to the point of a mental breakdown. They used contracts to hold me hostage in a sense, gaslit me every day. I can't even bring myself to discuss what they did, as it's so upsetting to think of, as they used me and I feel so stupid. I'm now living with my parents at 40, too afraid to date or work again, and have overwhelming shame." Now sure, this could just be a random person on the internet making this whole thing up, but this anonymous recount
That's exactly what I said.
sounds exactly like the countless personal stories I will share throughout this video. So now that producers have acquired a perfect cast of clashing personalities, instilled all of them with a slight god complex, and prevented them from revealing any information about their experience, the next thing to do is manipulate their surroundings, restricting their diet, and implementing borderline torturous tactics to manufacture chaos. And it all starts with 24/7 surveillance. As soon as you wake up in the morning, your mic is put on. When you go to bed, it's taken off. On The Bachelor, contestants sign contracts in which they must agree to be filmed up to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But this may also be by means of hidden cameras and microphones, according to the contract, meaning they're likely going to be caught at some point in a less than positive light. They should have no expectation of privacy. This may seem like an obvious necessity for reality TV to function. After all, the only way they can capture reality is by making sure literally everything is being filmed and recorded, right? Sometimes you see a contestant rip off their microphone and storm off to essentially protest being recorded, but the cameras just follow them anyways.
Hey, where you going?
The audience is excited for more drama. It's a harsh reminder that they literally can never escape. On The Bachelor, constant filming is actually sold as a good part of the experience. Contestants open up about things like anxiety, grief, or past trauma, all while the cameras are rolling 24/7, turning their real pain into a part of the show. The audience is made to believe that all this surveillance is necessary to show someone's journey, because towards the end of the show, there is literally a highlight reel of all of their pain being broadcast to millions of people. And the craziest part is, the contestants have no control of how that pain is edited, manufactured, and presented to the world. Surveillance is done by the producers to maintain complete control over their participants. And this anonymous Love Island contestant described
Not to be rude, but they tell you, I mean, they're telling you, you're signing up for that. So, at the end of the day, you chose that. I'm not saying that it should be like that, but they literally tell you what you're signing. You either sign it or you don't. And if you don't, there's somebody else that will sign it. So, I don't know why people are trying to make it seem like this is all, I don't know. But you signed up for it, you wanted the attention, you wanted the clout. Now you're mad that it's somehow like controlling or something. You read the contract. You knew it was going to be like that. You signed multiple NDAs. Come on now.
extreme lengths producers would go to.
Sorry to interrupt. But this is important. The shooter who murdered my sweet little Daniel.
When you're there, you don't
How I say it? Clout. Bro, come on.
realize how much you are controlled by them. If you talk too much
But
about
that's what you signed up for.
life
That's what they told you in the contract.
outside of the island, the voice of God, which is like a big speaker, will tell you to shut up. So it's like, this doesn't make good telly. Most of your day is just filled with gossiping about situations inside the villa, because that's all you're allowed to talk about.
Another former Love Island contestant described what producers will do to provoke a situation.
They set up the environment to test you because they know exactly what you don't.
Well, duh, that's why they take away your phones. That's the whole purpose of them taking away your phones. You don't get to see nobody, so they test. They're like, literally, come on, bro.
Like, they know exactly what you're scared of. They know what you're attracted to, what you're not attracted
Oh, no shit, what? You signed all these questions? They ask you, come on.
to. They know your triggers, so it's very easy for them to manipulate your environment.
You know what? Hold on, I'm gonna finish this video then.
Situations to get the best reaction out of you. And especially when the storyline is not going the way that they want, they know exactly how to fix that because they know you very well.
Oh, no shit, you signed all these, bro, when you go over there, they're gonna give you all these papers. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite dog's name? How many dogs have you had? How many brothers? What's your least favorite food? What's your favorite food? What's your scariest fear? Like, come on, bro. Like, obviously they're gonna know all these questions. They're gonna ask you. What are they screening you?
Literally, are just a little rat in their experiment, and they're trying to see what they can change and what they can do to see how you're going to react and how far they can push you.
Now, beyond surveillance, one of the foundational elements of a successful reality show is keeping the contestants in pure isolation. In Big Brother, contestants are confined to a house with no access to phones, internet, television, or contact with family
That's how it is in Love Island.
friends. This isolation forces them to rely on their relationships within the house, making every alliance, betrayal, and argument feel more intense. Former Bachelor contestant Leslie Hughes said, "We have nothing. We are completely cut off from the world. We have to talk to each other. We have nothing else to do." Similarly, Love Island isolates contestants in a luxurious villa where they have no communication with the outside world. There are no distractions, and they essentially create this artificial bubble where everything on set becomes the only thing that matters to them.
We didn't have any autonomy at all. Not only did they take our phones, they took our wallets, they took our IDs, they took our passports, all in the same instance, without telling us ahead of time this was going to happen. And
y'all didn't watch Love Island season 1?
We were filming 18 to 20 hours a day. The only time we weren't being filmed was when the union crews swapped out for a new crew because they had met their maximum for the day.
You never see daylight unless you're allowed to.
You know what? What's that one show?
In the late 90s, a very popular Japanese game show tortured a man for a year and broadcast it every Sunday night. This isn't like reality out there, and it was extremely popular, averaging 17 million viewers every Sunday night that they'd play the clips. That's absolutely massive even by today's standards. It's more viewers than the last 4 years of the NBA Finals and the World Series, and obviously more than million viewers. An episode of Game of Thrones got around 16 million viewers, so it even beats that. Just an absolutely massive success, but it doesn't stop there. The producers knew there was still a bowl of cereal and milk for breakfast and watching a man's sanity slowly deteriorate as he dances around naked in absolute agony. Wonderful. This is the story of Nasubi. As I briefly mentioned, another YouTube channel
use the bathroom, which is a trailer outside. They keep you in the state where you really have no idea how much time has transpired. It's one of those things where looking back on it, if
don't feel bad.
Someone told me it was a month, I might have believed them.
So what else can they do to cure their boredom? Well, have you ever noticed just how much alcohol is being consumed on reality TV shows? It feels like most of the explosive moments or juicy drama erupts after a night of heavy drinking. Nick Bateman from Big Brother said, alcohol was given to us when we were feeling down or depressed or nothing was going on, because obviously alcohol is the Molotov cocktail producers use to liven things up. Bateman says drinks were coveted by contestants because it would quell the boredom of being captive in the house. Bronwyn Wyndham Burke from The Real Housewives of Orange County says that producers took it a step further. Whenever you're filming, they have alcohol there. They ask you before you go on a trip, what kind do you like? They get to know what your favorites are. And while producers don't force you to drink, alcoholic beverages beverages were readily available and that sometimes during scenes, cast members were discouraged from eating. Jeremy Hartwell, who was a Love is Blind contestant, sued the company alleging that he could not access food and water, but alcohol was available and even encouraged on an empty stomach.
Oh,
now,
shit.
it's one thing to give a bunch of partiers some alcohol, but putting restrictions on their diet is just borderline evil, and there's a lot of evidence that supports this tactic.
I don't really believe that.
On The Bachelor, contestants are not allowed to eat any food during their dates because the microphones pick up the unpleasant sounds. No one looks good eating, and microphones pick up all kinds of chomping. Now this seems like a justifiable reason, and even though it sounds messed up, in shows like Survivor or Alone, contestants aren't fed enough to somewhat mimic the simulated reality of surviving in the wild. But one could also theorize that low blood sugar could prompt emotional reactions, pushing contestants towards emotional or medical breakdowns. In Mr. Beast games, contestants complained about their food rations. One meal reportedly included a tiny portion of cold oatmeal, one hard-boiled egg, and a few pieces of raw vegetables. They also described going long stretches without being fed by the production. There were times when the production staff gave out small feastable chocolate bars.
That's all I need. I'm good.
And filmed some people eating and praising the candy. Contestants with food allergies and dietary restrictions struggled more than others. Before the competition, people filled out forms detailing their dietary needs. An FAQ document was provided
if you need all that, why are you even in the program? Like, why?
Contestants in.
You know what? I guess I'm too mean. But the way I see it is like, you're signing up for the reality game. You don't know how long you need on there. And then you're going to say, oh, I have all these needs though. You got to make sure you fulfill this. You got to make sure I need this and I need this and I need that. I need this, my medication on this day. I need my medication on that day. I need that. And I need this. I need to be fed on this. Like, bro, come on. Come on. Come on, bro.
Advance of the event and said that all dietary and food restrictions would be taken into consideration. However, several contestants claimed to be served food they were allergic to and that alternatives hadn't been provided. We were treated horribly, a contestant said. They took on this challenge of 2,000 competitors. They should have known they needed an enormous crew to handle this correctly. So now that producers have trapped and isolated borderline toxic people who are malnourished and pumped with alcohol, at the very least, a good night's sleep would be their last chance to recalibrate. Well, they don't get that either, because sleep deprivation is one of the most messed up but crucial parts of the reality show entertainment formula.
Same old phone? Nah. Upgrade to the new Galaxy Z Fold 7.
With Villa Light, there's no clocks. What they was doing was like keeping you up really late, waking you up early, so then you're going to react more because you basically got sleep deprivation.
Most competition reality shows follow a similar daily routine. Wake up early in the morning, typically around 7 a.m., then they go do their competitions or tasks for the day. Then in the evenings, they talk strategy or socialize with another while getting drunk. Now you have to keep in mind that producers' top priority is to get...
Man, I don't know why you're trying to make it sound like it's crazy, man. This sounds like fun. This is easy. This is easy. They're just casting people that are too old.
45 minutes of watchable television each day. They can count on roughly half of the airtime coming from the actual competitions or tasks, but the other half needs to be the all-too-sweet drama that everyone craves. And if the day is coming to an end and they don't think they have enough, they will keep the contestants awake. For 3 years, Sarah Shapiro worked as a producer on the reality show The Bachelor. Her task, as she recalls it, was to get the contestants to open up and to give them terrible advice and to deprive them of sleep. She sees it now as complicated manipulation through friendship. In Jeremy Hartwell's lawsuit against Love is Blind, he said that they implemented what was called night dating. We didn't have clocks or anything, so it's hard to know exactly when it happened, but typically the night dates would last until about 2 a.m. He estimates that between getting back to his hotel room at 3 a.m. and being expected in the lobby at 7:15 a.m., he got 2 to 3 hours of sleep a night. On the challenge, cast members have reported being kept up until 3 or 4 a.m. and then forced into physically demanding tasks just a few hours later. On Love Island, lights in the villa stay on until producers decide it's time for bed, and contestants are often woken up abruptly for surprise challenges.
No way.
The lights
they're not.
It's time for bed. A few hours later, on Love Island, lights in the villa.
I ain't never seen that. I know the producers turn off the lights, but I ain't never seen them waking up random time like at the morning.
Stay on until producers decide it's time for bed, and contestants are often woken up abruptly for surprise challenges. The lights are on the entire time during Big Brother taping, even when the contestants are asleep. Interestingly enough, this is the same tactic that is used by the toughest maximum security prison in El Salvador. Writing tech reality itself through a process known as frankenbiting. Frankenbiting is the editing technique reality TV producers use to reshape a contestant's words and actions into whatever storyline they want, even if it's not what actually happened. Editors take small clips of dialogue, sometimes even single words or reactions, and stitch them together to create entirely new sentences or emotional responses that never happened in real life. Now, a lot of the time, this seems to be completely innocuous. Like this clip from The Bachelor. The girl who says, "shut up," is spliced into the edit to make it look like she interrupted Corinne. Me one
I get it.
Producers said not captured before giving Evan topics.
It's the point of the editing.
The woods. Convince everyone.
Let me take a couple of calls.
Darren, we're in love. You were devastated. You're nothing but a gold-digging white trash loser.
Although Sarah handled this scrutiny from the public with grace, others fell victim to the immense backlash. One of the darkest consequences of reality show editing is how quickly contestants become targets for obsessive, toxic fandoms, which has mostly been aimed towards people who have been labeled as villains on the show. And to some degree, you can't blame the fans. After all, they can only judge a contestant based on what they've seen on the show. But as we know, these shows are barely a reflection of who that person actually is. What makes it worse is these mass harassment campaigns often come from fans who believe they're acting on some kind of moral high ground. They'll flood a contestant's social media with hate, send death threats, and in some cases, dig up private information like addresses or family details. Olivia Atwood from Love Island UK opened up about receiving over 3,000 messages a day after her season aired, many of them telling her she didn't deserve to live. Another is Big Brother's Erin Grease, who spoke about how viewers campaigned for her to lose her job after producers portrayed her as a manipulator through selective editing. But sometimes the harassment doesn't end with hateful comments. For some contestants, the public mauling and emotional toll have pushed them beyond their breaking point. A stat that absolutely blew my mind was that at least 40 people have died on their own volition after their appearances on reality TV. Hana Kimura, a female professional wrestler who was among the cast of the popular Japanese reality series Terrace House, died at age 22. She posted a goodbye message on social media after receiving a storm of hate online. Love Island had 2 contestants in back-to-back seasons suffer the same fate. Sophie Graydon, age 32 in 2018, and Mike Thelastis, age 26 in 2019. The Bachelor had 2 women from the same exact season pass, Alexa McAllister and Gia Allemand. What if I told you that the very first person who was ever voted off a reality show in history also suffered the same fate? Would that not be a slight indication of a broken system? In June 1997, Sinisa Savija became the first person in the world to ever.
I feel like it's not the reality TV show's fault. It's more of the public's fault. Us as a society, we need to just chill on the hate.
Voted off a reality TV competition. The show was called Expedition Robinson. 4 weeks after he was voted off, he walked in front of a train. 9 weeks after that, the first episode of Expedition Robinson aired anyway. Before I started researching this video, I knew reality shows were pretty messed up, but I had no idea just how many tragic losses have been suffered from former contestants and the countless other attempts that have been made. And of course, this fate is never the result of just one thing. It's an incredibly complex and deep decision influenced by countless factors. But when reality shows follow the same formula again and again, calculated casting, 24/7 surveillance, isolating contestants, restricting their diet, flooding them with alcohol, depriving them of sleep, turning them essentially into controlled robots, and then putting all of their worst moments on display to millions of people, it's easy to see the inherent evil reality TV needs to have to create the entertainment. And with so many lives lost, it starts to make you wonder if this obviously broken system will ever change.
Like I said in the beginning, hard to feel bad for people who knew what they were getting into. So you think the screening and NDAs are for nothing? Come on. If you don't sign it, someone else gladly will. Come on. Like, I don't know. Yes, the hate is stupid, but come on. You're gonna get hated regardless of everything you do. Anything you do.
Hey everybody. Hey everybody.
Have you?
Next. Like, someone's always gonna hate you. Someone's always not gonna like you. Someone's gonna like you. Just the way things go.
I think we all know how the story ends. All of America's top federal authorities find no I think we all know how the story ends. All of America's top federal authorities find no evidence of collusion or conspiracy.
I'll watch this one, actually.
It was the game that launched this entire genre.
People who have never seen it will stop and look at that game.
Her name is Marissa DiNapoli, and God, this one is just absolutely devastating. And this actually came in as a suggestion from so many of you. And as soon as I looked into the case and read some of the details, I knew I wanted to shed some light on this case. Marissa's life was just starting when it was taken from her. And the circumstances really bring up a conversation that I feel you can really never have too many times. And that is surrounding domestic violence. And every time we go over a case where domestic violence comes up, and we discuss it, the comments on these episodes just destroy me. I mean, the things that so many of you guys have been through and your survival stories, it just makes me so emotional. And I just in advance want to say thank you for sharing your stories as well, because it helps so many others that are still going through it or have been through it and want to have support. And it just means so much. And before we get into today's case, I do want to go ahead and reach out to Marissa's family. If you see this, we've already reached out to you as well via email. My team has, but we do want to offer you a hope grant if you're interested. Now, you'll hear me explain later in the episode that they're not necessarily looking for financial support, and they have publicly said that. So if you guys are not interested, we totally understand, but we are here and want to support you guys in whatever way we can if you need or want it. And if you're new here and you don't know what I'm talking about, a Hope Grant is something that I offer victims' families through my foundation, Higher Hope. I started my foundation in September of last year, and we offer one-time financial assistance to victims and families of victims of violent crime, as well as other nonprofits who work in the victim advocacy space. So if you ever hear me mention that I'm offering a family a Hope Grant, that's one of two grants we offer through the foundation. The other type of grant we offer is called an Empower Grant, and that goes towards other nonprofits. And if you're interested in finding out any more information about Higher Hope and the work we do, and also ways to get involved and donate, we would greatly appreciate it. You can do so by clicking the link in my description box. And 100% of donations goes directly to support victims of violent crimes and their families. So,
with the rise of Fortnite
YouTubers now, let's get it. What happened?
Battle Royale in 2017, we saw several content creators who had exploded in popularity, basically taking over the internet. However, while
not to be rude, but Ninja just became an alcoholic.
some of them are still around today, many of them have been completely forgotten or had even disappeared entirely. Starting with probably the most massive YouTuber in Fortnite history, we got Ninja, who is kind of in a weird place right now.
And then his ego just got to this guy's head. Like, this dude thought he was bigger than everything. He thought he was the god.
Tyler Blevins, also known as Ninja, began posting on YouTube back in 2011.
Seemed like a cool dude, but
he would actually start by playing Halo competitively for a few years, until eventually he stumbled across a new genre that y'all might have heard of called Battle Royale. With games like H1Z1 and PUBG releasing, he would start to blow up as a content.
This was when he was good. Like, he was actually a good person right here.
Creator, reaching like 10,000 viewers at a time on Twitch, mainly due to the crazy records and gameplay that he was streaming at the time.
Oh, fuck you.
The fuck you say to me, you little
However, while he was already doing great, he had barely even gained a fraction of the fame that he was about to receive. With Fortnite releasing on September 26th of 2017, this game would change the course of not only his
life
career, but his entire life. Around the release of Fortnite, he was sitting at around 500,000 followers. Fast forward to March of 2018. Around the release of Fortnite, he was sitting at around 500,000.
That's still a lot.
Followers. Fast forward to March of 2018, he was now at 3.7 million followers, gaining over 3 million of them in just 5 months. Not only was he on top of live streaming and gaming content on YouTube, a lot of people even considered him the best Fortnite player at the time.
Myth.
Later in the month, we would get blessed with what was probably one of the craziest moments in live streaming history, and this would be the Ninja and Drake collab stream.
I'm like,
oh, that one was hard.
99.9% sure we are about to break Twitch.
5K don't know if you get this dub, Ninja. You hear me? Oh my god!
With this stream, he had broken the individual streamer viewer record at over 628,000 concurrent viewers. I mean, nowadays you got Kai Cenat who's doing like a Kevin Hart stream on a Monday and then a Michael Jackson collab on a Tuesday.
Not dead ass.
But back then, seeing someone like Drake on a live stream with some basically random streamer was pretty crazy at the time. And this kind of brought the world of live streaming into the mainstream thanks to Ninja. Pretty crazy at the time. And this kind of brought the world of live streaming
Dude, that one was hard.
into the mainstream thanks to Ninja.
Gigi, you got band-aids?
Band-aids?
So
1 year after Fortnite's release, he had gone from 500,000 followers to almost 12 million. And on YouTube, he was now sitting at over 18 million subscribers. At this point, he had pretty much gone from just being some random Fortnite streamer to an entire celebrity.
The guy.
However, at some point, things eventually did start to plateau. As Fortnite evolved, so did its player base. I mean, this was around the time where you could just look at someone and they'd start building skyscrapers.
Dude, that shit was stupid.
Also meant that you had players and creators like Tfue who were kind of taking the spotlight away from Ninja. And over time, Ninja wasn't really known as the best Fortnite player anymore. Now, the biggest thing that probably contributed to his downfall the most was when he signed a deal in 2019 to switch from streaming on Twitch to only Mixer.
Oh, Mixer, yeah. What the fuck was Mixer?
Now, I will say this was like a $30 million deal, but the downside was that he pretty much lost his entire audience after switching. In 2018, he was averaging over 70,000 concurrent viewers, and after switching to Mixer, he was only averaging under 8,000 viewers.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
Overall viewership on Mixer was so bad that in less than a year after signing Ninja, the platform had been shut down entirely. Since returning to Twitch after Mixer's fail, his viewership was about the same as it was on Mixer, but over time it slowly started to dwindle down. And there was a couple moments where he kind of did start to make a comeback actually, mainly because of the memes that started to blow up on the internet.
Oh yeah.
That low taper fade like meme is, dude, it is still massive. Yeah, massive.
I'm not gonna lie though, he's kind of low-key been ruining his reputation on the internet recently. I don't know what it is, but there's been like multiple times where he's just randomly taking shots at other streamers.
Kai's pulling 30K right now because he's sleeping, dog. Every time he wakes up and he actually starts playing Elden Ring, he's pulling anywhere from 90 to 100K. He does what
He just sounds like he's jealous.
I could have done if I just stayed home and streamed and didn't go to Mixer or anything like that. Congratulations to Kai for beating my record. As of October 2023, Twitch streamer iBuy holds the record for most concurrent viewers on a Twitch stream with
He's so mad.
3.44 million.
Here's the thing with Ninja, bro. If you guys go back to the clips of every time where I broke a record or every time where I passed quote-unquote Ninja, he's always backhanded complimenting me, bro. He's always like, congrats him.
Yeah, he's
But this happened.
Now, I'm not sure if he's just joking around or not, but yeah. At the same time, the decline.
Get detailed feedback on your story with Pro Writing Aid. Receive actionable insights on your plot.
The decline of Fortnite's popularity obviously didn't help too much either, but let's be real right now, if Ninja never started up a stream again, this guy is so rich that if I had just like 0.0
No, for real, 0.1, you'd be set for life.
1% of his income, I could probably retire my entire family, so I think he'll be fine. However, if y'all do want to support my dream of getting 0.01% of Ninja's income, then feel free to drop a sub. I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, by the way, if any of y'all are serious content creators of any size, I've been working on building this community called Creator Cave to help other YouTubers. I'm not even going to explain it here, just go check it out, link below. But yeah, let's get back into the video. Now, another Fortnite creator and player who I'm sure y'all probably all have heard of would be Tfue. Tfue originally started his current channel by posting random games like Call of Duty and especially Destiny for a long period of time. Much like the other Battle Royale creators at the time, he would also start to play H1Z1. Fun fact, he was actually rivals with Ninja back then.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's doing the fucking, dude. That is literally, dude, the definition of a nerdy play, man.
Fast forward a bit, it wasn't until actually a little bit after Fortnite's release that he would upload his very first Fortnite video onto the channel. And yeah, as you can see by the title of the video, he was cracked at the game.
He was.
Not bad, but we could do a lot better.
Just a few months later, after his very first Fortnite upload, he had already been invited to none other than FaZe Clan, while only having 70,000 viewers at the time. Because of this, and also the fact that he was pretty much one of the best Fortnite players in the world, if not the best, this had skyrocketed his popularity to the point where people were putting his name next to Ninja when debating who was actually the greatest player in Fortnite. Side note, one time I accidentally joined a lobby he was in during the Fortnite Friday event, and then got blasted by Tfue, so I can confirm he might actually be the GOAT.
Okay, my game, John Wick, swordy ass fucking builders, fucking pussy ass motherfucker.
Not even a.
Oh,
so I can confirm he might actually be the GOAT.
Damn.
Okay, my game, John Wick, swordy ass fucking builders, fucking pussy ass motherfucker.
Not even a month later after being signed to FaZe, he had gone from not even 100,000 subscribers all the way to nearly 1 million subscribers. In just 1 year after that, he had reached over 10 million. During this time, he was at his peak in both competitive Fortnite and content creation as a whole. I mean, this guy was getting millions of views every single video, and at some point had actually passed Ninja as the most watched Fortnite streamer. However, while things seemed like they were going great the time, that was not exactly the case. On May 22nd of 2019, Tfue had uploaded a video titled "My Response #Release the Contract." In the video, he explains that he was getting ripped off by FaZe Clan and wanted them to release their contract to the public so that way people could see the full details. The video was uploaded 2 days after Tfue had sued FaZe Clan for these unfair business practices, as well as encouraging illegal gambling and underage drinking. FaZe Banks, who was actually the CEO of FaZe Clan, actually made a response back to Tfue, basically saying that everything was a lie and that he even tried negotiating with Tfue. After all the back and forth though, there was still no contract released. A little more than a year later, on August 26th of 2020,
a year later,
Tfue and FaZe Clan had settled their lawsuit, putting an end to the whole drama. However, we still don't really know what actually happened, and even to this day, he still won't speak on it.
I don't know. We just got moved on. Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with all those guys. I mean, there's no bad blood there. What'd you guys settle for in the lawsuit? No comment.
From this point on, Tfue had experimented with some other games after leaving Fortnite for a bit. He even made a return back to Fortnite for a while, but overall his popularity was slowly starting to fade out until June 20th of 2023, where he announced that he would be retiring from content creation. Okay, so that was a lie.
he's lying.
Months later, Tfue had returned to YouTube, basically uploading whatever he wants, and honestly, it's not doing too bad. As far as what he's up to now, he pretty much summed it up in a recent interview with Logan Paul.
It's weird. I'm like living like an old retired Florida person right now. I'm like golfing and fishing. Like I might as well throw bingo in there. Yeah. A little bit.
But yeah, honestly, it really just seems like Tfue's just been chilling and living like he's retired. So while Ninja
just living life.
Tfue are still active today and just kind of fell off in popularity, there were some huge Fortnite creators who had reached pretty much the peak of their careers and then was like, yeah, I'm gonna vanish from the face of the fucking earth. One of these YouTubers was Fearless, who was actually one of the biggest Fortnite YouTubers ever, until one day he had just completely disappeared from the internet with rumors about him not being alive anymore, but I'll get into that in a bit. Much like these other YouTubers, Fearless had also started out by posting other games, and he had actually gotten a pretty decent following playing Call of Duty at first.
Damn, 88,000.
And of course, once Fortnite blew up, you guessed it, his channel did as well. He wasn't necessarily known to be the greatest Fortnite player at the time like a lot of other creators who were blowing up, but he quickly became the go-to creator if you wanted to watch Fortnite content centered around entertainment. Before posting Fortnite, he was averaging less than 100,000 views a video, and within a year, he was now averaging tens of millions of views.
No, Fortnite? Are you serious?
With his most recent videos averaging 30 to 60 million every single video. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I really don't think there's ever been a Fortnite creator who has ever consistently pulled that amount of views. And at the same time, he was also doing this completely anonymously, with no one actually knowing what he really looked like, except for one image floating around, but I'll get into that in a bit. Now, while he was doing amazing, things unfortunately started to take a turn. Over time, his uploads started to become less frequent, with people starting to joke around about him not being alive anymore.
I've just gotta say, if y'all watch Fearless, he died. He was at the hospital.
Oh my god.
And he died because of this infection. Subscribe and hit that like button if you miss him.
And what the fuck? It was a joke at first. Fearless had then uploaded his final ever video, completely abandoning his audience and actually leading people to think that he was no longer with us anymore. People were starting to get worried, with actual rumors about him passing away starting to come out. However, eventually people started to look around and actually found some interesting clues as to what might have actually happened to him. First of all, there were at least a few minor clues that at least proved that he was alive at least. The first being that people noticed he had randomly changed his profile picture on TikTok. The second being that he had updated his name on YouTube once the username @ feature had came out. The third being some changes to his playlist that were found on his channel, which, like, dude, I don't even know how people noticed that. And then probably the most important clue would be when some kid had uploaded a video onto YouTube of both him and Fearless playing Fortnite together.
Well, nice playing with you. You too, bro. Good luck on your Your YouTube channel.
So yeah, I think it's safe to say that he's probably still alive. However, there were a couple moments where he had kind of given some insight into his personal life, and I'm not gonna lie, it kind of had people worried. In November of 2020, a fan had commented on Fearless's TikTok, jokingly asking, "So when's your next vacation?" Fearless then responds, "Vacation LOLOL. I wish this was a vacation. If only you knew my life, bro." Another interesting clue that came along was a little bit before, actually, on June 20th of 2020, where Fearless had done a short live stream on a second channel playing a little bit of Fortnite. Towards the end of the stream though, he had actually given some hints into his personal life.
I don't know, it's weird. You want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. All right, YouTube. Nah, I don't want to get into it, why I haven't been uploading stuff, but it's personal. I mean, a little bit, and more. Another thing is, just like, what matters is I'm gonna upload soon.
So yeah, from the brief amount of information that he has shared, it seems like the guy's just been going through some personal stuff. At this point, that was really all the information that we had, until one YouTuber named Calyx had came in clutch and actually discovered some pretty crazy information. Going back to the live stream I just mentioned, there was a split second where Fearless had accidentally shown his Fortnite friends list. Now this dude Calyx had went full detective mode.
Oh shit.
And after doing some digging around, he was actually able to get in contact with one of the people from the friends list, which ultimately had led to probably the most amount of information that we had gotten yet. It turns out that this random guy had actually known Fearless in real life, and even backed it up with proof, as well as sharing videos of them playing together. He even confirmed that the picture going around that I mentioned earlier was actually him. Now finally, Calyx had asked him the question that we had all been waiting for: is Fearless ever going to come back? And I'm not gonna lie, we really didn't get a straight answer. To me, it honestly seems like it was probably just him burning out, as well as a mix with like life issues or something. There is another video out there where a fan had gone into another match with him, and he actually gives some more evidence that he probably was just burnt out.
You quit Fortnite?
Yeah, I quit YouTube, not Fortnite.
Why? It was too stressful?
Something like that. I didn't quit, I haven't been getting any good footage for a video.
Oh, really?
Like, footage I'm actually happy with, yeah. Like, I don't know, I could upload, but the video would be like trash.
Recently, there's been clips going around that claim to have Fearless in the videos, but I'm pretty sure it's an AI voiceover and not actually him.
I'm dead, brother. Why is everybody so sweaty?
However, either way, we at the very least know that this guy is still alive. Similar to Fearless, another YouTuber who had reached a crazy amount of success and then randomly disappeared was C-Day. Now, I don't know what it is about all these Fortnite YouTubers, but literally nearly every single one of them started out by posting Destiny. With C-Day, it was actually the main game that he played for a while, until he eventually got tired of the game. However, once he started posting Fortnite videos, things had started to go uphill when he had went from around 100,000 subscribers towards the beginning, all the way to over 2 million in just a couple months. And I mean, it was definitely deserved, because in my opinion, C-Day had to have been the greatest of all time at Fortnite entertainment. His videos were in a way kind of similar to what Fearless was doing, and funny enough, just like Fearless, he would also vanish from the face of the internet, kind of at least. After uploading pretty consistently for a while, he would start to have these random disappearances. The first of these happened when C-Day decided to cryptically black out his entire channel for multiple weeks, while disappearing at the same time with absolutely no explanation at all. Whenever people do stuff like that, it's usually not a very good sign.
You see, here C-Day quit YouTube. I'm trying to black out his banner profile pic. I don't really think that means it, other than there might be something wrong.
But this dude had came back after all that and said that he was trying to revamp his channel art. Meanwhile, he had people thinking that he was quitting forever or even died because he wasn't uploading for a few weeks. However, unfortunately for the C-Day fan base, it was only going to get worse from here. Soon he would continue to start randomly disappearing for longer periods of time, until eventually he had left for 2 years and then dropped the video like nothing happened.
You know, it's not easy to explain a nearly 2-year absence.
After his return, it turns out that this would be the last video on his channel, which was over 2 years ago now at this point. Unlike Fearless though, he actually did give us an explanation as to why these disappearances have happened.
There was one point where, like, every other week, a different part of the world was literally on fire. And then there was the BLM/Civil War arc. And I don't know about y'all, but while the world is literally ending in front of us, the last thing on my mind is, hey yo, when am I gonna drop this new Fortnite video? The state of the game, plus what was happening with the world at the time, it was the perfect shitstorm to keep me from coming back to YouTube. And obviously that wasn't all of it. It was apparent I was falling out of love with YouTube and making videos and stuff like that. After doing something, well, like literally the same thing for that long, it gets repetitive and it loses that thing that made it fun in the beginning.
The only updates we've had from C-Day is when he posted a now deleted video showing a promotional OG Fortnite package that was sent to him by Epic Games. Apparently people looked at his profile and like a promotional OG Fortnite package that was sent to him by Epic Games. Apparently People looked at his profile on like a Fortnite tracker website and saw that he had reached Unreal back in OG Fortnite, and he's been spotted playing the game since then. It's also kind of funny seeing people speculate about him as well.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm starting to think that C-Day was a social experiment made by the government to see if their early versions of AI can have the younger.
And I would have just randomly disappeared. There's also even the third. I just completely moving on from YouTube. I will say though that just because someone's YouTube career falls off, that definitely does not mean that they weren't successful. Pretty much in it today. Now lastly, I want to talk about a group of creators who were part of probably the most well-known and iconic team during OG Fortnite, and this would be TSM. Originally, the team started with Myth, who was known to be one of the best Fortnite players at the time. I mean, he was pretty much the pioneer of people becoming cracked at building inside of the game.
What the fuck? He keeps building higher. Stop building so fucking high! Stop it! He kept building up and building up and building up, and I couldn't catch him.
Whenever he first started streaming Fortnite, he barely had anyone who was actually watching. But after people saw how insane he was at the game, this dude started to blow up. Not long after blowing up, he was signed to TSM as Fortnite's first ever pro player, and from that point on, pretty big things were about to happen. Myth had been tasked with finding 3 other Fortnite players to join the team, where he would choose Hamlins, Camille's, and Daquan. Not only were they amazing Fortnite players, but they were also creators as well, which helped bring attention to the whole team. However, there was one issue that had started to become a big deal over time. Each member of the team, and especially Myth, had pretty much been hyped up to be the greatest Fortnite player of all time. I mean, Daquan had gotten like 40 kills in one game.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
The problem is though is that everyone on the team had really only ever been able to play against randoms in a public lobby and not against other actual pro players. However, at some point it was announced that Fortnite would be doing a $50,000 charity tournament where some of Fortnite's top players would all compete against each other, and unfortunately for Myth, who was one of those competitors, things did not turn out so well for him. Around this time there was a huge debate going around about whether Ninja or Myth was the better Fortnite player, and with nearly 700,000 people watching, this tournament would pretty much give the answer to that question.
I got the early game. I was gonna play the high ground
fell off
early, and then, but yeah. So then.
So yeah, it turns out Myth wasn't actually the greatest Fortnite player. For a little while though, things were actually still going up for Myth and the rest of the team. In May of 2018, the group had moved into the brand new TSM Fortnite house, where they would be able to get some practice in for the game, as well as some more content. Around this time was pretty much the peak of their popularity, with Camille's averaging over 2,000 viewers, Hamlin's averaging over 12,000, Daquan averaging nearly 30,000, and Myth at nearly 40,000. Unfortunately though, this hype would not last forever. Over time, while the rest of the team kept practicing, one of the members, Camille's, had started to fall behind the rest of the team, eventually leading to him being benched and forced to move back home. People say it was out of his own will, but I honestly really don't know.
Build up, brother. Oh my god, no.
From this point on, the goals between them were starting to change. Myth wanted to keep practicing and improving at the game, while the other members wanted to focus more on the entertainment side of things.
I was really driven to play competitively, and like it came to a point where we had to like sit down and have a talk, and they were just like, yeah, like we just want to be content creators, really. Me being young and who I was like, fuck, man, I wish they would have told me sooner. And I kind of like resented them for that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it had gone to the point where Myth had been the only one showing up to a major tournament.
No way.
With Daquan and Hamlin's being nowhere to be seen. And unfortunately for Myth, he still did not perform too well. So yeah, after all this, TSM's Fortnite team would start to exit their prime and enter the start of their downfall. Part of the reason that they had gone so popular in the first place was because they were considered some of the best Fortnite players at first. But over time, more people started learning the game and becoming better at it, which made it harder for them to stand out. A lot of people expressed their disappointment with the team, which undoubtedly led to people losing interest as well. With both Hamlin's and Daquan sharing about how they were struggling with mental health, over time Hamlin's would start to stream less and less, before taking a hiatus from 2020 to 2021 basically out of nowhere. He did eventually return for a brief amount of time, but as far as I'm aware, the last we heard from him was like March of 2023, where he did a stream on an alt account. Funny enough though, even through all the lack of streams, it seems like he was actually still going up on both YouTube and Twitch. Unfortunately for Daquan though, things are not looking so promising on his end. Just like Hamlin's, he was also streaming less and less and constantly making random disappearances. On top of him struggling with mental health and the death of people close to him, he was also having physical health problems, specifically with his stomach, which apparently was a major cause for the lack of streams.
Y'all know I was also sick for like 5-6 years, you know what I mean? From 19 to pretty much 26, you know what I mean? And on top of that, I had those lung collapses, which also prevented me from doing what I wanted to do.
To make things even worse, he had mentioned that his girlfriend contracted E. coli from eating at a restaurant, which led to her being in life-threatening conditions. And during this whole time, you got people on Reddit talking about how he doesn't care about his fans because he doesn't stream anymore. After a very long disappearance, he did make a return in 2021 and 2022, joining the NRG
No way. He looks so different
with Hamlin's. However, shortly after, it ended up falling apart, with both his final ever stream and final appearance on the internet being on February 10th that same year. And since then, literally no one has any idea where he is.
Daquan is not gonna answer the phone, chat. I have already had Hamlin's hang up on me. Let it go. It's over. I called him. I tried, and I tried. We made tweet after tweet after tweet, but they just don't fuck with me no more.
As far as Myth, he's the only person from the group who is still active today, even though he isn't as popular as he once was. After his peak viewership back in 2018, the competition coming from other Fortnite players and creators like Tfue seemed to have a direct impact on Myth's viewership. Just after the start of his decline, he was also experimenting, trying to play other games on stream as well. While doing variety content could have helped him as far as longevity outside of Fortnite, unfortunately, the games that he was playing didn't really resonate with his current audience, causing even more of a decline. There actually was a couple moments where he had revived his popularity